Hi, this is Caleb with DSLRvideoshooter.com, and this year I finally made it out to Vegas for NAB 2013. Really had a great time. It was fantastic finally meeting all these other bloggers and podcasters that I've been talking with online over the years. So I highly recommend the show. It's totally worth whatever time and effort it takes to get out there, but it's just such a fantastic experience. And while I wasn't planning on doing any coverage while at the show, I did find some interesting things and got some B-roll, so I thought I'd go ahead and put all that into an episode or a few. So let's go ahead and jump right in. This year Zacuto released some really cool things, chief of which for me was the DSLR Marauder. And this is kind of a change they're making to their Gorilla rigs. This thing packs down to literally nothing. You could stick in your, glove box in your car if you wanted to. They also have a new half cage with a very nice wooden handle, and this is going to work with almost every camera, so they didn't make it camera specific, which I think is really nice, and it's just a solid rig. They also have a new Z-Drive follow focus. They played around with something similar last year at NAB, but this one is going to work with a lot more cameras, is a lot more flexible, and it's very affordable. It's under $500, which for Zacuto is fantastic, so you guys should definitely check that out as well. At the Kessler booth, they were showing off the Traveler, the pocket jib Traveler. I was also able to use that actually right before the show, and was really impressed with how strong it was. And what separates this from a lot of other jibs out there that pack down is that it's very robust. Once it's fully assembled, the thing is very solid, whereas a lot of stuff out there that you can buy for cheap that is marketed as very portable and easy to travel with is going to be incredibly weak, and you're going to kind of have to baby it. So this is a really, really great jib from Kessler. I was able to stop by the F&V booth and talk with Mark about their LED panels as well as some cages that they're going to be releasing. And what I love about these guys is that they really have their LED tech figured out. They have an LED panel with a CRI of 85, which retails for under $500, and that is actually a higher CRI than light panels, which they charge at least double that. This year they also came out with a 95 CRI panel, so keep an eye on those guys because I really think they're going to be someone to watch when it comes to high quality LED panels. Something I hadn't heard of but I did find at the show was Emote. They have a motion control head that you can use for time lapses, but it also comes with a remote that kind of looks like a Wii remote. And what's cool about this is you can use it for video, and it's incredibly smooth. And it retails for under $1,000. I believe it's around $800. So this is a very affordable, very, very flexible motion control system. SmallHD had their AC7 OLED, which was just mind-blowing to see in person. And they also updated their DP4, so I'm really jealous because I have the old one, but the new one is even smaller and thinner and just a fantastic monitor. Redrock has something kind of interesting, and I'm very curious to see how people are going to react and use this, but it's called the one-man crew, and it's essentially a motorized slider that has a slight arc to it. So you can just set your camera, set your focus, and let the slider go back and forth during an interview, and then be able to cut between that and your main camera. They also have a really nice little GoPro cage that retails for around $100. While I was walking around, I stopped by the Zeiss booth and was just blown away with essentially two lenses that I'll never be able to get my hands on, maybe rent down the road, but they released a 24-70 and a 70-200, and both of these zooms are geared for cinema use. Just gorgeous, gorgeous glass. Something else I hadn't really heard anything about but bumped into on the floor was something called the ReadyRig, and it's essentially a camera system that attaches to a belt and chest mount and has bungees going down your back. And the idea is that you can let go of the camera and be able to, adjust or pull cards out without having to set your camera down, and it removes all the stress from your back. And what's great is you're still able to get really low shots and high shots and move your camera around, but it just removes that stress from your arms, shoulders, and back. I also stopped by the Porter Brace booth and really was impressed with some of the rig cases that they are producing. At first glance, they don't look that strong. A lot of them are soft cases, but you can easily stand on them, kneel on them, and they're incredibly robust. So I'm gonna see if I can do some reviews for them and show you guys some of their new bags. Something else I bumped into that I thought was interesting was Nanak. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's essentially hard cases for cameras and rigs, and they come in similar sizes to Pelican cases. But what I found was they were very, very strong, but a lot lighter. And I have a Pelican case, love it to pieces, but the thing just by itself is an animal when it comes to weight. So these are gonna be less expensive and still very strong. One of the big hits at the show was Movi, and this is essentially kind of like a Steadicam, but it's a two-handled system that has a gimbal on it and is very impressive. So definitely check out Vincent Laforet's video and how they used it. Edelkrone had their new slider, and it was cool to actually finally, play with it a little bit, because it's one thing to see it online, it's a whole nother thing to actually throw a camera on it. But I think it's going to be a really, really cool tool. And I think it's very well built, and looks like they're going to get a lot of business out of that. Cinevate was showing off their new jib with a motion control system developed by Ditto Gear. And while this thing is a tank, you can put a lot of weight on this puppy, no noise, and it's just a very, very solid jib. So if you're doing a ton of jib work, theirs is a great one. I also saw a lot of the Benro monopods and tripods, and these are really cool. They're essentially a shameless rip of Manfrotto's tripods and monopods, as well as some other tripod brands. But that said, I think they're just as good as the brand names, but obviously a lot cheaper. So I think my next tripod is definitely gonna be from them, and they'll be releasing these tripods before long. And then of course there's Blackmagic, who again stole the show with some of their new announcements. This year they have announced the Pocket Cinema camera, which is the size of a point and shoot, but has an active micro four thirds mount, super 16mm sensor, 13 stops of dynamic range, records to ProRes as well as Cinema DNG, uses SD cards, and after playing with it a little bit, it's just so hard to believe that a camera like this is going to be available, hopefully within a year, and is so well made and has such an incredible image. So that's a really exciting camera, and looking forward to seeing that out in the world. The other camera they released, and this is what I'm more interested in, is the Blackmagic production camera. This is going to be a 4K camera, super 35mm sensor, and records to SSDs. And this is really interesting to me, not only because it's 4K instead of the 2 or 2.5K, but it has a super 35mm sensor. And the micro four thirds, I'm not sensor biased, but I obviously am more interested in the larger sensors, so I think it's really cool that they're gonna have, quite the array of sensors between all of their cameras. So those are just some of the things I saw this year at NAB. Sorry this is so late in being released. I had a lot going on, so I wasn't able to really get this out. Next year I'm really looking forward to seeing if I can do a better job of releasing more content around the show or near after. That's it for the NAB coverage, and I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I'm open to suggestions for next year, and we will see you guys on the website, DSLRvideoshooter.com.